Hi, welcome to Gilboys YouTube channel. In this video presentation, I'm going to be restoring this chest of drawers, which comes from the Louis Philippe period of France. What a beauty it is. I mean, it's huge, isn't it? You just saw me wheeling it in there on the forklift because it weighs a ton. It would have a marble top on it, and it does have a marble top, but obviously it's not here for the restoration. Now, it's quite a simple restoration, this one, I think. Fingers crossed, you never know. It's a case of stripping back this remaining old cracked finish here, which is probably a shellac finish, and bring back the maple, lovely bird's eye maple that we can see featuring here, but it's all a bit hidden, and which is then framed by these rosewood outer beads on the drawers here. It dates to, I would have thought, the early part of the 19th century, so early 1800s. And it's got a really lovely plain piece. It's got lovely graduated drawers, but it also has a little secret, which I shall reveal a little bit later. But it's a nice, heavy chest of drawers. Let's get on with the restoration. So the first thing to do is the repairs. I'm always saying this in my videos, and it's a good rule for any restorer, anybody starting out doing some restoration. Do the repairs first. You don't do them after you've started finishing or you've stripped it. You do it at this point. The reason being, because if you do some repairs maybe that's on the face, when you start stripping it, those repairs can also be blended in when you start stripping with the colours that's coming away. Right, on this one, I have noticed, and it's, you hear that, you can see that, the drawer runners have gone, they've worn away, and as the drawer pops out, it's a sign those runners have worn back here. And if I take the drawer out, you can see here it's actually made a channel where the drawer has been going backwards and forwards, and this is quite common on a lot of antiques. Anyway, so I'm going to find some old wood in our container, and then we're going to sort of dimension it to make drawer runners, new drawer runners, which we will sit possibly alongside or make new. I don't know, we'll have a little look, but let's get on. So we have our new old wood. Took a little while, but we got there. They're made from oak, which matches in with the commode or the chest. And as you can see, it's fairly flush to exactly where it should be. It might be a little bit of planing work to shoot them in a little bit, but I'm going to place them inside the old drawer side. And the reason for doing that is, well, there's two reasons. One, I'm preserving the integrity of this drawer, not having to mess around with it. And also, it's a little bit quicker than me messing around with it, because this is a paid for job. I get paid to do this and to replace all the drawer runners. And I'm going to have to do it inside the chest as well, or commode as it would be in French. It's a commode. I'll have a look, I'll explain. Look, here, look. Okay, so we've got the dust shelves here and the main structure of the commode. These have also worn inside here. So not only is the drawer runner worn, but also the inside runners have also gone. Now, I can remove this, flip it all over, so you're keeping the original woodwork, everything's kept. You just turn it all over and put it all back. That is a lot easier said than done, and we have done it a lot of times. But it would push the cost of this chest commode up a lot. And is it necessary? I don't think so. Because again, the same way as we were dropping the drawer guide or runner on the inside of the drawer, I can do the same here. I can drop it in just inside. It matches perfectly, because these dust shelves are really, really quite strong. They're really sturdy. I mean, this is a really well-made chest of drawers. And I mean, the back's all made out of solid oak. The whole thing's very solid. So we've got a really bona fide good repair here. We're going to repair the drawer runners on both sides using old oak and without causing any damage to the chest. So let's get on. So you saw me just a minute ago hammering these pins here on this central drawer bearer. And they are little buggers, these things, because they wreck chests of drawers. And I've seen them with great big channels going down through. And I've just seen this now, and there's another pin here, a little small nail that I've got to sort out. I kind of wish you didn't use nails, but because they do wreck the furniture. Okay, so on to the next stage of the repairs, the cosmetic repairs, the stuff that we can see. And as you can see, there are parts of the moulding here that have come away. In fact, I pinged those away. The idea being, my intention is to French polish this, and French polishing involves fads and rubbers and the technique of French polishing. Have a look at the video that we've got on YouTube. I'll put the link in up here for that one. But to get freedom of access with a rubber, I've pinged off a few of these mouldings. They're made from rosewood actually, which is another thing I'll talk about later on, not right now. I'll ping those off so I can use the rubber across. I need to take off the knobs as well. But before we go to the finishing stage, we've got to do the repairs. And as you can see, there are bits of moulding that are missing. You can see here and here. And also this rather intricate piece of moulding. Again, this is rosewood, solid rosewood, that I need to reinstate up here on the side. The reason it's pinged off is because there's a marble top on here and it probably knocked it off. Other repairs that I need to do are, there are some veneer repairs. So on the face of this plinth here, there's veneer missing. And also over here, at the back end of it here, there it's flaked off, it's been caught. So there's maple, bird's eye maple veneer missing here and here. Another bead here, look, that I need to reinstate. Possibly that way, might make it better. Yeah, there you go. Nothing too taxing. Not really. But these repairs need to be done before you start the finishing process. And I say this a lot in our videos. You really need to do the repairs before you start finishing. There's two reasons. One is when you strip, if you have to strip, and this I do have to strip because the finish is gone, it's flaked away. I can't really revive this finish. If I try reviving this finish, it won't last very long because it's flaking away. So, but when you do strip, and I've repaired everything, if there are new pieces of repair, the colour and dirt and grime that comes through the stripping process blends into the new repairs and ages it. So that's the first reason. The second reason is you don't want to start repairing when you've done the finishing process, because you're going to start undoing all the work that you've done, all that good work that you've been doing of French polishing or whatever the finishing you're doing on it. If you suddenly have to start repairing it, you're undoing that work, and it's going to make it twice as hard. So do the repairs first, and then carry on with the finishing process. Right, okay, let's get on. So we're really quite fortunate to have a cupboard full of old veneers. Some of them, a lot of it's been taken off of old furniture, so it takes quite a lot of time and effort to strip them off. But there is a piece of maple. I've got so much in here. Bandings, different species of wood, rosewood, oaks, mahogany, as you can see, maples. I've even got some, I think that looks like it's been fumed oak there. London plane, there's all sorts of veneers in here, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Actually, I've got a load more upstairs, but that is brilliant. So this is old bird's eye maple. Let's have a look and see if it fits or matches in. Would you look at that? That is almost a perfect match. It's not normally that good, not normally that lucky, but you can see now. And this is finished, it's got a finish on it. So what I'll do now is cut out shapes, a random sort of shape around these areas and fix them in. I'll glue them in using our hide glue, the hot melt glue. And then once these repairs are done, I'll start on stripping and refinishing. So the next stage of the repairs is to replicate the mouldings that we have. And these are these quite decorative rosewood mouldings that we saw earlier on. Now, for me to replicate them, I'm going to need a spindle moulder. I'll need this design on a router bit, really. And I'll also need quite a lot of rosewood. Now, there's a problem with using rosewood or new rosewood because this rosewood is aged. It's got a lovely mellow colour. And if I was to have a block of new rosewood and then routing out this design pattern, it would go black. So then I'd have to bleach it back and pull some of that colour out and then trying to get it to match this. There's a lot of work. The alternative is to use something like mahogany, or actually something with less grain in it, again, maybe something like maple, and then colour it to look like rosewood. The other alternative, I can use multiple mouldings to create this one. Either way, it's a lot of work and a lot of time for a tiny piece of moulding that's only that big. So I thought, and I've never done this before in here, we never have, I'm going to try and make a mould from this. So I'll make a 2-part rubber mould from this, and for any other bits of rosewood that are missing, because bearing in mind it's quite small. And then I'm going to pour a resin in it, epoxy resin. I'm going to make an epoxy, a 2-pack epoxy resin to make these mouldings. But just before I do show you how to do that, I want to talk to you about rosewood and the effects of sanding rosewood. This is something that crops up a lot on emails coming through, and I see it on social media talking about sanding or preparing rosewood. Be really careful. That's what I'm saying. Be really, really careful if you have a rosewood piece of furniture and you wish to strip it because the finish is gone, or you want to do some repair work, even in veneer work on it. Be really careful of sanding it. I'd say just avoid sanding it, a full stop really. We're talking about old rosewood here, this aged, beautifully coloured rosewood. Because when you do sand it, it will go black. It will revert back to its original black colour. It's part of the ebony family, rosewood. And obviously when it was on this French commode, when it was first made in the early 1800s, it had the contrast of the dark rosewood surrounding that bird's eye maple. But over time, the rosewood fades, and that's what antique dealers and antique lovers love to see, is that lovely grain and lightened orangey, yellowy sort of colours that you get with rosewood, which you can't really replicate. So don't sand it. I've sanded the back of this moulding. You can already see it's gone black. Just to further emphasise that, let me show you what it looks like. I put some methylated spirits on. And methylated spirits is clear. It'll just evaporate away, it's just an alcohol. Look at that. That's how dark it is. And that is with a light sand. So really, just avoid sanding rosewood. And this is the other reason, obviously, why I can't sort of make a new moulding. Because if I was to make a new moulding for this serpentine, not the serpentine, if I was to make a new moulding for our commode here out of old rosewood, doesn't matter what rosewood it was, it would be this black. Therefore, I would have to treat it with nitric acid or a bleach, or I would have to colour it, dope it over and fake grain it. So the whole reason for using rosewood would have gone. But I just wanted to show you that. So just be aware, don't sand rosewood. If you strip the finish off, if you have to, but don't use sandpaper. Anyhow, let's get on. I think sort of equal amounts. The start bit, isn't it? How do I remember it? Massage it together. Actually, this is about a week later after me pouring that resin in a true Blue Peter style for the British viewers. Here are our moulds and a train. So it's set. They're really hard. And I know that one and this one is good, but Ian might want to come in and see this one and see this, because this is the big one. It looks good. Obviously I'm going to do some shaping, but I think it's going to work. So we're getting close to the end of our repairs and moving on to the thoughts of stripping this old finish off and refinishing process. As you can see, I've removed the handles from the drawers. Now I've just very carefully pulled them off. They took a while because they were fixed in really well, as you'd expect, but they're rosewood knobs for the drawers, or the drawer pulls, the knobs. And what I've done is, as I've pulled each one off, this is number one, I've numbered it number one with some masking tape and put number one on the back of the drawer so we know exactly where it came from. And again, being rosewood, what I'm going to do with these, I don't think I'm even going to strip these. I think they'll just revive, and we can put a fat of polish over them and wax them, and they'll look fantastic. So there's no reason to go to the effort of stripping them. The other thing that obviously I haven't done as yet is I haven't replaced the missing mouldings. I'll do that once it is stripped and it's finished. So when we reach that stage of finishing, I'll reinstate those new resin mouldings that I've done, and we'll move on from there. So that's the reason why they're not in. I don't want to put stripper on them. So let's go to part two will be stripping, colouring, finishing, and all the nice bits of bringing it back together. I hope you enjoyed part 1. Part 2 will be out shortly.